All right, we're going to get rolling. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today. It's an exciting day here at Willoway. We're going to have Big Dave talk to us about our Worry-Free rebrand, our new program, Simply Joyful. We are so excited by this. And like I said, I'll have the chat room open. We are recording and we will send out a copy after the meeting is over. And for those of you that are signed up for our customer Growing Forward Summit on August 12th, we are super excited to see you. You'll get to see some of these plants firsthand. And those of you that haven't signed up, you have until Sunday, but we also have another one on Friday, August 28th. So we would love to see you at either one of those. It's going to be super exciting and we're going to have lots of people and it'll be really educational and a good time for all. So Dave, you're up.
Yeah, so this customer thing, can I get free food?
Sure can.
Can I get other freebies?
Yes, you can.
Could I get, this is a big ask, but could I get some discounts on some plants?
I am guessing you probably can, but I think you really need to be here to find out.
Oh my gosh. All
Yep,
right.
gotta be here, Dave. Gotta be here. But I'll tell you, we'll make it worth your time.
Got to play to win, right? You got to
Yep,
play
play
to
to
win.
win.
So, sorry this was a little late. Probably should have a little more planning with this, but we did a launch with our worry-free program at Cultivate, and we were taken back at the reception that we had for the program. People loved it. People liked the whole concept, the color scheme, the everything, the package, the varieties we were picking, the whole thing. Worry Free is the brainchild of the original founders of Synergy. So the Synergy Group has been rocking and rolling for several years, but the original members, which is Willoway here in Ohio, Pride's Corner Farm in Connecticut, and Over to Vest in New Jersey, um, the three of our companies together, we run Worry Free, right? So that is that brand. There are other members in the Synergy group, and if you ever want to look into joining the group, you can always reach out and ask. We have a website, so you can go on and do that, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the branding, the message, the whole bit, and then maybe a little bit of secret stuff about the plants we picked. Go ahead and bring up the next one. So the worry-free promise. So we have a promise. This is a pact, right? This is really our grading system, right? And Willoway also adopts these as well. It's not just for the worry-free plants anymore. When we bring in anything new, you have to answer several of these questions, right? Is it deer resistant? Is it insect and disease resistant? How's the hardiness? Is it easy to take care of? Low pruning, low this, low that. Light flexibility. Can it go into shade a little more, or can it really take the blazing sun, right? And then the water resilience mostly goes around, can it handle dry conditions, but we also may look at it if it can handle a wet area, right? So all these questions are asked, and at least four of them need to be answered before we would think about bringing it into the program. Next. So we're just going to jump right into it. And these are some of the ones that we've had in the Worry Free program for a little bit. First off is Level Up Pink. This comes from some European paniculata breeding. And it's very hardy, and the bloom on this is massive. We have some 7-gallon trees that we have available right now, and the bloom is, which is weird, but everybody says it's as big as a baby. So they are huge. They come out white, and then they'll turn pink, and then almost turn red. So they'll go through the whole gambit. And if you wait till the very end and cut it, it dries that way, and it keeps that color. It will not turn brown if you cut it off and protect the bloom from, the elements. So it's an incredible flower. Another one is Ruby Snow. Very strong stems, an upright type of presence, tends not to split apart or weep, which we really like. It can handle different conditions for soil conditions. Also, it can take dry a little bit more. Most paniculatas need a lot of water to get a good bloom. This one here seems to be a little more adaptable. Kind of like it. Same kind of deal. Going to start off white and fade into pink, but you're going to have that white for quite a period of time. So, and then a little bit different animal is early evolution. So this one, by its name, blooms early. It's one of the earliest blooming hydrangeas out there. So while you're still getting traffic in the garden center at the end of May, first part of June, this thing's going to be budding up and getting ready to pop some color, where all these other ones are not going to happen until obviously we get into summer. So there's your choices on your hydrangeas. All right, so this one has been out a little bit in limited quantities. A lot of people have been trialing it, testing it, but this one is Passion Frost. Very tough Pieris Andromeda. It comes from several different crosses. It's got a lot of lineage and crosses, so I'm not going to go too far into the weeds, but I do like its resistance to any type of desiccation. It has a nice waxy foliage. Some of the older Pieris, they'll desiccate a little bit over the winter because Pieris like to keep growing. They're using water through the winter, and they do all that. And sometimes when it gets a little dry out there in the winter, the foliage will burn, and then you have burnt foliage with the flower coming out. Doesn't look great. This one here will help a lot with that issue. And I do like the hardiness. The blooms seem to be hardy, and also, the plant itself seems to be much hardier than some of the other varieties out there. So early bloomer, like the rest of Pieris, it's going to pop. It depends where you are. It's either sometime in March, probably April, and it's going to be pretty much done before Mother's Day. That's typically how Pieris go. But, for mid-May, you're going to get this incredible new growth of color starting on it. So you got a lot of facets to this plant. Great plant. All right, this one's been out there for a while. This comes out of the University of Connecticut, their research labs. This comes from, Dr. Frankenstein type stuff. So they are actually to kick off the genetics of this plant. They irradiated it, right? Which caused sterility, and that's its big claim to fame. So Crimson Cutie not only is a really nice plant, it's got nice shape, ball shape, compact. It is sterile. It is certified sterile in any state that will listen to someone, which some states don't listen to science. They do their own thing. I'm going to try to stay out of the politics of that for right now, but I'm sure some of you are starting to battle with that. But several states have created the exemption for this series of plant. We're the only ones that have it, the Synergy group, right? And we also have a yellow one in the series as well. So Crimson Cutie, if you haven't got to know this one, please pick some of these up, give them a try, and you can get rid of all that worry about the invasive side of things. All right, jump into some grass. So we got some pretty cool grass coming down. This is, we had, Dreamcatcher Smoky Rose was out, and then in the series we got coming through now is Dreamcatcher Cherry Bomb. So you can see here the beautiful red colors. It has a little bit of variegation in the foliage as well. This particular photo would be of it, around this time of year. but it'll pop out. It'll have a little bit of red when it pops out. It'll have red all year. So it's a lot of grass that say they're red. They get that red color late in the year. This one's going to have some red to look at all year long. So that's why I really like it. Very tough, very adaptable, drought tolerant, which is excellent. Um, a different side of the spectrum here. We go into the carrots. This one's feather falls. This one's great. When it's in a container, it will almost hang all the way down to the bottom of the container, all the way down to the ground. So it's really cool. And it gets that, kind of water fountain kind of feel to it as it keeps growing throughout the year. I love the foliage of this thing. Very waxy, resists any kind of burn, has great resistance to rust. I've really never seen rust on this plant. So that's really good. So its disease resistance is excellent. And I love the name too, the Feather Falls name. But yeah, you get that white with the greenish veins, and you can swear on some days you can get a hint of pink. You know, it could be the trick of the sun, but I have seen that in them at certain times. It's not a selling point for me because it doesn't happen all the time, but you definitely get that white and green, that split variegation on it. Love it. All right, Lakoth, rejoice. Yay. So this one is pretty cool. Dog hobble. It's gonna be a little questionable on hardiness for up here in northern Ohio. I think it'll do okay. It stays low to the ground if we have snow cover. If you put it in a situation where it's going to be highly exposed, all those kind of things, you're probably not going to kill it, but you might get some burn on it, which, is going to be fairly unattractive. But you get this beautiful red new growth against the green. They do flower. I don't think Lakothi is really known real well for its flower. It is nice, but it's more the foliage, the ground cover aspect of this one. It's a spreader, so that's great. We really like it. Lakoth likes drier situations, right? So that's where this one kind of comes in. Deer don't like it, which is really cool. So that checks off that box as well. So give it a try if you got the right environment. Okay, Amsonia butterscotch. So this particular photo is summer, late summer, and through the fall. You'll get this butterscotch color, right, which is really unusual. It's a very nice green through the spring and early summer. It has that fine foliage. It's interesting. It looks interesting in the garden, but you get this butterscotch color that you can enjoy for a long time. And it doesn't look like it's burnt. It's that true butterscotch color, not like a brown, that thing looks like it died kind of look. That's not what this thing is. So dry areas are great. Deer don't like it. It seems to be pretty tough. It gives you that interesting foliage. There are no disease or insect issues that I am aware of. So I don't think you'd ever have to worry about anything with this one. This one like checks off boom, 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 boom. And it's not considered invasive either. So it checks off all the boxes, which is pretty cool. It's kind of rare that you get a plant that does that. So this one here could be a workhorse in the landscape if you let it. So, all right. So Gaillardia. So these Gaillardia are coming from Dooman Orange breeding. So went through Southern California trials. We got to see some of that, got to see how it was doing, and then we had the opportunity to pick them up. So we picked them up when we thought they were really good. These pictures do not give them justice. I mean, they are still out there today, blooming powerhouses. The repeat bloomability of these things are incredible. No disease issues, no insect issues. Um, they tend to like medium soil conditions. You can run them drier. The one thing you don't want to do is put them in a wet area. That would be a no-no. But they just keep reblooming and reblooming and reblooming. And then when the bloom's done, you get that really cool looking ball, that's left there that has interest too, with new flowers just coming right after it. So a lot of Gaillardia are kind of one-shot wonders, and they kind of do their big boom, and then they're kind of done. But that's not these guys. So we got three different colors. You got the multicolor in the bottom right, and then you have kind of a reddish color, and then you have a bronzy color. So my favorite is the two-tone. I'm always a two-tone person, but you have three to choose from, and bring in all three. So. All right, daisy, daisy, daisies. So leucanthemum. When we started seeing like the yellow daisies come out, I was like, oh, no, please. I'm so done with that. And people are really starting to get into banana cream, which is a different animal, but that's from a very reputable line of proven winner products that we really like. But this one here is definitely different, very compact, and you get a lot more blooms. And the blooms you can see there, they're really neat and tight, full to each other. I like it, and it definitely seems to self-shed pretty good. As the flower gets spent and old, actually the flower stalk will crook and die back down in, which is exactly what you want with perennials that repeat bloom. You don't want that dead flower just sticking straight up in the air. You want it to kind of go away, just go away and bring out some new stuff. And Isabel does really good. And then we have Sweet Daisy Bird, which is really long petiole, really comes out. And then Daisy Jane is a very formal looking, very tight, almost a double, but not quite a double. You can see there. So it's very full, has that perfect round presence. So three real good leucanthemum that I think need to be in the landscape. Okay, Eupatorium. Um, so this one is little joke pie weed. So whatever you want to say, whatever you want to call it. But the cool thing about this is, as you can see there, the mature height is 24 inches. If you know Eupatorium doesn't stop till it probably gets around 6 foot in some areas. So it can get really tall, really big as it gets older. This one's going to stay more compact. Um, Believe me, 18 to 24 inches compact for Joe Pye weed. So full native, full on native, right? Pollinator guy. Ooh, I can see, I didn't even know that was in there. There's bumblebees in there and they're pollinating. So this is a workhorse for pollinators, butterflies, bees, whatever, hummingbirds, it's blooming at the time. We have hummingbirds and butterflies. So great plant. This thing can take rough conditions. It's got weed in its name, right? So it can grow in dry areas, like just the nastiest clay areas, stuff like that. If you have a trouble spot, that's where this goes, right? You don't have to do a lot of soil amendments. You don't have to do a lot to get Joe Pye weed going. And that's true with this one as well. It's very adaptable, and you can see the hardiness there is incredible. Deer tend to stay away from this too. It is not their favorite thing to eat. That's probably why you see so many of them around in the just the native seed spreaders out there that get the 6 feet tall. Not a lot likes it. That's why they get so big. So that also has that attribute as well. So
So Dave,
really good.
this one autocorrect fixed it. It's little pie. not
Yeah,
little. So
yeah, that
autocorrect changed it up on me.
that's why I kept wanting to say pie, but then I saw you had by, and I'm like, am I
It
wrong
is.
here?
It's little pie.
So little pie. Yeah. All right. Achillea, yarrow. You know, I said yarrow to somebody the other day, and they go, "What the hell are you talking about?" So I don't know. I must be old school or something. But this also is coming out of Doom and Orange breeding, and we have three colors. And I have been absolutely amazed at how well they perform in containers in the nursery. And don't get me wrong, they perform fantastic in the ground as well. But they fill a pot with really clean foliage. That's sometimes the problem with Achillea. You get some kind of rough foliage, this and that. This is another one that they also pick because it self sheds. Kudos to Dooman for doing that because this one will self shed and repeat bloom on its own. You don't have to be out there trimming it. You know yarrow. It goes, it blooms. You got all these dead tops, then you got to go in, you got to trim it and let it do its thing again. You won't need to do this in the landscape with this thing. And when you see it in a pot, you see how it presents. They're great. They're shorter stems. They're not going to flop. It still presents above the foliage, which is something we really like. We want that flower to pop. We want it to show off. But it doesn't get so tall that a storm coming through, heavy rain, won't knock it down. Deer don't like it. I don't like yarrow. That's pretty much the case for all yarrow. And love the name too, the sky sail name. And we have the three colors. So we got the fire, which is kind of a multi-color, really striking. That's probably my favorite. And then you got bright pink, which is really bright pink. And then you got the yellow, which the yellow is not like post-it note yellow. It's more of a towards the orange spectrum of yellow, which I tend to like that. I tend to like colors that get you closer to the earth tone side. And I really think that that's how a lot of people like it. But three great plants. All right. So Agastache. We got the honey stick series. So we got two of them out of the series. We may pick up some more later. We did send the breeders back to the drawing board to try to do a little better. So we may get a red in another year or two, and possibly even a white. But what's really cool about these, Agastache is one that a lot of people, it's kind of at the bottom of their list because you get a couple of blooms here, and then they kind of get tall and fall over, and they look good for a couple days, and then they look bad. Okay, so again, you can see what the breeders did. They shortened it up. They fattened the flower, right? So it's a much thicker flower, and you get a lot more of them, and you get repeat bloom. So boom, 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 all the way across the board, you got a plant now that is moving from the obscure part of the garden up to the center point. Excellent bench presentation. When people see these on the bench, they're going to pop. When I see Agastache, the older varieties in garden centers, they don't look so good, right? Because they get tall real quick. They can look a little rough. These aren't going to do that. And when you pair it with that gorgeous blue pot and the new tag and the whole package, it's fantastic. Agastache, very tough plant, resists disease, insects, all those kind of things. Really doesn't get mildew, even though it looks like it should get mildew. It doesn't get mildew, so that's kind of cool there too. So, yep. All right, Iberis. This one's called White Shadow. So, Iberis, ground creeper. Very low to the ground, about as low as you can get. Creeps across. Uh, Remember, Iberis are spring bloomers, right? And when I say spring, I mean early spring. So, as you get a warm period in the end of March, you might start seeing some flowers, definitely in April. This one here has some repeat bloomability, which you like. Now, You might have to help that. I did note that really to get it to rebloom, you had to give it a light shear. And when you did that, it definitely repeat bloom and it repeat bloomed heavy, right? So we're going to experiment on this variety a little bit in the nursery. But, when we ship it here, we're going to ship it in the spring. We're going to try to get it out earlier to you. The hope is to make sure that you got something to look at when you're selling it. It does bloom a lot longer than some of the other varieties. So it took a lot. We passed on a few other varieties from a few other people because, believe it or not, there was a lot of people really pushing. This is big in Europe. Iberis is a huge category. They got all kinds of them, all kinds of colors. The problem is with a lot of the colors, they're just not hardy, or they bloom so early. They're going to freeze. That's really the hardiness. I don't think you necessarily kill the plant, but they try to pop early. So there'll be some cool stuff coming along as the breeders keep working with it, try to get a later bloom. But this one is the first one I've seen that kind of moves out of that one shot wonder category and gets us into a little bit later with the bloom and repeat bloomability. So you got something to look at later on. Penstemon. The world has gone penstemon crazy, right? There's all kinds of penstemon. Depends which way you want to go. You want a big leaf, you want a narrow leaf, you want whatever, you'll get it. Okay. Penstemon, fantastic for deer resistance. Love it for that, right? A lot of the penstemon get kind of tall. And then a lot of them I don't like because the bloom spike, right? There can be a separation between the foliage and the bloom, or it's really, really short. It's too short. It's not showy enough, or there's always something wrong with the ratio. This is one of the first one I've seen that has just a fantastic ratio of foliage to flower. You got really nice dark foliage, and then you get this white, long-lasting flower on the top. Flower doesn't last forever. It kind of goes out. But the foliage is nice because it's a little bit more waxy. So the foliage stays nice longer through the season, right? That's another little issue. It's not huge, but when you're out there really looking at penstemon, the foliage can get rough after the bloom, and you kind of got dead blooms and rough foliage, and you kind of scratch your head, what am I doing? This one here starts to answer those issues. That's why we really like it. Very tough. This thing's going to be hardy anywhere. Fairly adaptable. Would tend to like medium soils. Probably wouldn't do great in super dry areas. And it's not going to be like a really dry garden area. It would still live, but wouldn't look as great. But it can take drier areas and be adaptable in that way. So great addition. All right, Pravaskia. We got the sage here. So this one's a tough one. A little more compact, kind of hard to tell from the photo, but this thing here has really very little foliage. I mean, the foliage doesn't get very tall, and it's all flower, right? It's just all flower. It gets these massive flower spikes that start low to the ground. That's why we like it, because Pravaskia, most of them are like, they're kind of like 50-50, half foliage, half flower. Sometimes get too tall. That can lead to issues. This one here definitely starts its flowering lower to the ground and then continues to keep flowering. So really like it. Deer do not like this. They're going to stay away from it. Has no disease or insect issues of any note. So it hits the buttons there. Very tough, very hardy, very adaptable, soil adaptable plant. So it can take tougher soils if you need to. So another good one for the WorryFree brand. All right. So geranium. This one's purple glow. So Another one, okay, we keep talking about plant issues. This is another category, geranium. The best thing about geranium is, right, they bloom all year long. They don't stop. They bloom, 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 bloom. But some of the geranium, the foliage can get kind of rough, especially when you get a real hot period. The foliage can kind of burn up. This one here seems to have cleaner foliage throughout the year. The flower is bigger than something like Roseanne or Max Frey or something like that. It's definitely a bigger flower. Very nice color to it. It actually has some good disease resistance because you can get mildews on some of the geraniums if you put them in the wrong area. So this one here is a definite improvement. And it was worth adding into the program. So, and I'm looking forward to that one. Heuchera Big Top Caramel Apple. So, or, you know, if you're from the East Coast, caramel. So, or Europe. But I am from the woods in Ohio, so we call it caramel. But this one is a little bit of a twist on straight caramel. It has some green colors in it as well. That's why they call it caramel apple. So it's like the people who named it described it as, you know, it's like an apple that has a caramel color on it. So the new leaves that come out are going to be that caramel color. As the leaf gets big, it will bring a little more chlorophyll into the leaf, a little bit greener. I think that also lends itself to better foliage. Every time I see this plant, it looks nice and clean. When a lot of times you see heuchera, it's not a big deal, but you know, sometimes the older leaves can get a little rougher. I don't see that as much with this plant. So that's what really excites me. It's going to stay full, look nice, do all the things you need it to do. Yes, it does bloom. Very similar to caramel. I don't think there's any real big differences between the two for its bloom. But this is all about foliage, clean foliage, nice look. All right, so a couple of salvias. So you have Noble Knight and Noble Princess. Surprise, surprise, the knight is blue and the princess is pink. So there is a difference in the bloom. And the photos here, I'm glad Kelly has these photos that really shows you the difference. The Noble Knight has a taller flower, a little bit longer, a little bit bigger individual flower. The Princess has more of a tight cylinder type flower and it's a little shorter. So you get two completely different looks, but very nice flower patterns, very full. They really fill with flowers and they repeat bloom better. So they're not going to be one shot wonders. They're just going to keep sending up new spikes of flowers, which is really what attracted us to this series. This one, too, also comes out of breeding from Duman. So these some of the breeding that they're bringing from Europe, and they're running through California trials, and then we're running them through northern trials here before we put them in the program. So very tough, very nice plant, excellent disease resistance. Salvia can get mildew, it can get leaf issues. We're not seeing that. So really good plant. All right, so Sedum Wineberry Delight. This one here is foliage is good. You know, it's not the darkest foliage I've ever seen. It's not the lightest foliage. It's definitely a bigger kind of leaf type of dude, but the flower is great. It has these nice, beautiful masses of white to pink to red flowers all over it, and the bloom time lasts quite a while on it. So that's what's really cool with this. Deer don't like it, so it checks the box. It's in the sedum category, and yes, this one, rock garden, dry areas, whatever you need. Doesn't take a lot of water to grow it. Doesn't take a lot of expertise to grow it. This is one of the categories I've been pushing on hard because we have a lot of people out there that come begging us in this industry. I kill everything. I can't grow anything. I have a black thumb, whatever it is. Sedum is such an unused category for this group of people, and it always should be one of the first plants you talk somebody into trying, right? Um, because they should be successful with it, right? If they kill the sedum, then you can go, you know what, you shouldn't be growing plants. But the sedum category is one we should lean on a lot harder. And there's some fantastic colors coming out, which we'll be talking about. We're going to show you more if you come to our customer event. So make sure you consider that. Veronica. So this one is a very compact, tight, silvery kind of foliage. Really like that kind of almost like a lamb's ear kind of feel to it. Not real fuzzy, but really interesting foliage. And that is no lie on the bloom. It is probably one of the tightest, deepest blooms I have ever seen. It does not like the misty blues doesn't like open up any. Now, baby blues is more like they're traditional, but the misty blues is so tight you can't even put a pin without hitting the bloom. I love that. And they're very tight little spires. So great. Pollinators love them. They'll be all over them. And then the baby blues is a little different. This thing here has completely different foliage, the more traditional kind of greenish foliage. And it's going to stay very compact. Even the flower is going to be shorter. The flower is going to be very short and compact. And it's a shower as well. And they repeat bloom. And you can see it. You can even see it in the photos. You can see all these new blooms coming up. No longer is this a one-shot wonder. That's why we're bringing these on. That's why we're bringing them in the brand. They're going to keep blooming and keep blooming and keep blooming. There's a reason that the industry needs these plants out there. There's a reason that the breeders were working on these and said, aha. And there was a reason why we ponied up and we spent the money that we needed to spend to secure the rights to carry these plants. So two great looking plants. Nepeta. Oh my gosh. Do we need another Nepeta? Yes, we do. So another thing, come to Willoway and you will get to see what we are doing with Nepeta, with catmint. We haven't even begun to scratch the surface as an industry to hit the maximum sales we could hit. We're just starting it out. This one is mini Walker Blue. So this one comes breeding through Walker's Low. This one, by its name, you can tell is very compact. This one's going to be very formal, very compact. It's. I wouldn't pick this one if you were trying to make a mass of catmint. This is more if you want more of a formal look. If you have a really small garden and you don't want something to get out of hand, this one is the plant for you. Fantastic bench presentation. Sometimes Nepeta can get kind of big, look kind of wild in the pot. That's not going to happen with this one. So that's really cool there. And then on the opposite side of the scale, you have tall tails, right? But the thing I like about this one is it is not floppy. It gets tall. I mean, it gets big and it doesn't flop. It grows straight up. And very strong stems, very nice, very everything. There is one thing that we've always struggled in our industry to do is you have to connect emotionally, right? And what is one of the biggest categories, the biggest sales opportunity out there in the retail environment is link it to pets, right? So if you can link it to pets, there's just an incredible amount of money to be made from the consumer, and they will spend exorbitant amounts on their animals, probably more than their own kids. So think about ways that you can tap into that with all these new Nepeta. Not only do you have these, you have the cat's pajamas and cat's meow and little kitten, and there's all kinds of them out there coming out, and they all are different shapes, different sizes. I think we can use them all. I think they fit needs. It's just the challenge is going to be keeping track of them. So, but these are two great ones. All right. So that Kelly, go back one, would you? Yeah. So I just wanted to wrap up the worry-free program. Kelly, do we have a photo of the pot by chance in here?
I don't think I did in here, Dave. Sorry.
Okay,
But
that's all
it's
right.
it's that beautiful blue.
Yeah. So the pot and the tag and the package, you're going to get this printed pot that says worry free on it. It has these flowers that you see in the middle of the screen here, that flower pattern on the pot. And the tag carries over the same thing. Huge tag, tall tag. It's a stick type tag that sticks into the pot. Lots of information. It has that beautiful deep blue color that our pot will have. And when you put these plants in there, these unique plants, these great plants, these problem solving plants with that blue pot in that package, and you fill an area up with these, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. And I think that's what everybody saw at Cultivate. We had a nice display of them down there. All three of the Synergy partners had a display of them down there, and we all got comments that how great that looked, how that package looks. So it's the marketing, it's the package, and it's the plants. So make sure you jump on board early. It's going to be limited supply for fall spring. We got what we got. Our plan is to ramp it up, but if you want to be the first one in, make sure you get to see it. You're going to have to make a decision early because they're going to sell out fast. So,
Yep, and
all
we'll
right.
be introducing some shrubs in 2028.
Yeah, we're going to keep with the introduction. We'll probably have some more perennials next year too.
Yep.
So yeah, we're working with breeders, talking with breeders every day. So not going to stop. All right, let's talk about a different dude. If I have to talk about this, then you guys have been asleep. So if you went to Cultivate, you got inundated with this, right? Um, but for the few of you out there that maybe didn't quite get to see it yet, I will kick you off in the right direction. They struck a nerve. They hit the ground running with their marketing on this. They have buzz everywhere. You cannot go on social media and type in plant without this freaking coming up all over the place. So this is Firewing. This is a new Heuchera series from Terra Nova. Through their breeding, they're being very hush hush on their breeding. So I can't really give you any kind of genera genealogy on the backtracking of where these all came from and how the crosses happen, which I understand. They are very unique. And what they did was every single one of these, which we have seven, right, Kelly? We have seven that are in the series. I think the seven.
Yeah, there is seven.
Yeah.
I'm on the next slide, so.
Yeah. And each one of them has a different dragon, and each one of them tells a different story, right? And it's this kind of Lord of the Rings kind of fantasy kind of story, and it all connects together. And anyways, they hit a home run with this, and they have all kinds of people buzzing about it. I think this thing is going to be in every single publication come spring. You won't be able to get away from it. You will be sick of people calling you up and coming in. Do you got Firewing? Do you got Firewing? Do you got Firewing? I mean, we picked up what we could. Other people have picked up what they could. I don't think the industry is fully stocked and prepared. It probably is going to take another year. So I think it will become a bit short. we'll see how it goes. We'll see how fast they can produce it. So let's take a look at these things. All right, so here you go. I don't have a favorite yet. We have them in the ground up here. Now, I have not run these through a winter trial. I have heard that they do well. Okay. But that's all I know. But I can tell you, I have seen no reversion. I see this wonderful, uh, that fine leaf, cut leaf look on all of them all the time, every leaf. It doesn't put out different types of leaves or anything, talking to reversion. I've only seen jet bloom. I haven't seen the other ones bloom, but they're all supposed to bloom. Jet's bloom is very nice. It was blooming down at the show, and I got to see it bloom in a trial group of containers. So that's what I know about it. I just want to make sure that you're watching for these. They have a website. Just type it in and go online and go to their website, and all the marketing is there. The whole storyline is there. Everything is there, right? So they don't need me to try to sell it for them. I'm just trying to hang on and go for a ride here because I think it's going to be pretty cool. So we did put them out there. We do have winter trials in place, so we'll see how it does. We also have winter container trials. And then we also have them in our standard growing area where we keep them just above freezing for the winter. So that's what I know. That's what we have. We will have them. They will be limited numbers. We're trying to get there as quick as we can. So that's what it's about.
And then we have our last big group of plants, Dave, the new ones.
Okay.
Oh,
Groundbreaker. All right. So some of you might have picked this up this past season. This is coming out of Europe. It's been kind of a big deal over there. Germany specifically is where this is really coming from. So do you have any other slides, Kelly?
yep.
Okay.
I did the two.
There we go. So it's not really it's not a spreader. It's not a stoloniferous kind of plant, where it comes up. It just kind of keeps kind of laying down some branches and growing up, right? It's going to come from a central core, but really the pot kind of shows you there. They're not going to get any taller than that. They're just going to come up, and some of them are going to get pushed out to the side, and it will just keep kind of spreading that way. Will they eventually touch the ground and cause on a node, cause some roots to pop? Probably. It would probably happen, but it's not going to be one of those things where you can go in, plant it in the ground, and dig a bunch of starts up. That's not really what you're looking at here. So that's what's pretty cool about it. Why they came up with Groundbreaker, from what I understand from the advertising in Germany, was because it breaks up the ground, right? It doesn't. It breaks up the dullness. Let's put it that way. It fills those spaces, those open ground spaces, and then you can still have taller plants popping around it. That's what the Groundbreaker kind of means. My mind doesn't go there, but that's where their minds went. So hopefully that's what we got. So we got we have a red. So they're all going to start white, and then you're going to have some white mixed with reds and all that, and then we have the blush, the pinkish color there. So we're going to have those two that we were able to secure enough to get them going. A couple thousand of them. They have to be in the Groundbreaker pot. This one is a tricky one for us to grow because we had to sign off on several things. So that's the way it is. You have to have the tag, you have to have the pot. So it's going to come in that kind of greenhouse, kind of florist type shaped pot, but it will be pink and it will say groundbreaker on it, and that's how it will come. So, or we're not allowed to sell it. So that's what I know. I have seen this in ground trials, not here. I do have ground trials going for this winter here, but I have seen it in northern ground trials. Seems to do fine. I think the hardiness is okay. Um, just another one to hang on. I don't know um, if this plant will truly capture people's imaginations, all those kind of things. It has in Europe. It is out of control in Europe, but sometimes things in Europe go out of control and they just kind of fall flat here, and sometimes it just goes crazy. So we'll see how it goes, but that's what we know about Groundbreaker.
All right. Well, that's what we had today. Dave, is there anyone, no questions popped up. Does anybody have any questions they wanted to share or ask? But yeah, I think that's what we have today. So any closing words, Dave, about seeing them next Wednesday?
Yeah, so we'll be here ready to go. We'll have all kinds of special things going on. It will be well worth your time to come. So please come. We don't do these things often, so we're just going to do it a couple of times over the summer here. I will tell you with the new WorryFree brand going out, a lot of these perennials are not in current inventory as we speak, but they will be shortly. So there will be some opportunity to bring some in this fall if you'd like to, just get in touch with your salesperson. And that's the same thing with the other two Synergy partners with Over to Vest and Prides. There's somewhat limited availability right now with a big availability, the bigger availability more for the spring. But we are open for business. We can start shipping as soon as our crops are ready. Go to the website. The website is excellent. So go to worryfree.com. Well, you got to get there because when you type in worry free, it'll probably take you every place but where you want to go. But worry free plants, you'll find it. Get in there. We tell you everything about every plant. We tell you why it checks off. It talks about the whole messaging. There will be some POP available going forward that you'll be able to get because obviously the big selling point for these things are, you can tell your customers that come in, hey, there's a reason why it's in that pot. It's not just another pretty flower.
I can
It
share a little
does
bit
these
of it
things.
with you, Dave. Hang on. Here's the worry-free. It's worryfreeplants.com.
There we go. Okay. Yep. So worryfreeplants.com. Go there, and then it's somewhat interactive, so you can look up stories and go right there. You can see why we pick, why we do what we do.
Yep. And then you
Um,
can search by, the promise. You can go in there and find, I want to know what's, compact and hardy, and it will pull up the plants that are compact and hardy.
yeah, and anybody can go on the website.
Yep.
It doesn't do anything with sales or pricing or anything. You have to talk to your salesman. And obviously, we're not selling direct to consumers. It's just an information site. But
But we are,
uh,
yeah, we are advertising, and if you buy the collection from us and you're in the Worry Free, you will be on our retail locator. So
yeah,
when people search this online, the commercials will be coming out on TV. They're going to have them in magazines, all different places. So customers are going to start to ask for these. So you want to be on the front of this and be a part of our retail locator as well.
yeah.
So,
Other than that,
all
I think
right.
I'm good. As
Well,
always, you can always reach out to us with any questions. And thank you so much for your time. So,
yeah, thanks for joining us today. We'll see some of you next Wednesday. I'd love to see some more on August 28th. It's a Friday, and we'll get these recordings out as soon as we can. So have a great one. Thank you.
bye.